The age of OnlyFans regrets. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. This is a Sydney Watson video. And yeah, there will be a time where people will regret this. Obviously, they will regret this when they're trying to find a partner. They're gonna regret this when they have children and the children are getting bullied. They will regret this eventually, and some of them, like when we look at corn stars, they even delete themselves. Interesting, huh? Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
And so I think that for me was like OnlyFans. I was like, oh, I'll do this on the side. Like, it'll just be extra money. A lot of girls in Scottsdale do it. Like, it's kind of the norm out here in the West.
I don't know how people can cope right now having teenage and young daughters. What is this? Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome.
I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be very controversial. I will do whatever it takes to make sure that when I have a daughter, if I ever have a daughter, I will make absolutely sure that that daughter is not gonna even think about doing adult content.
Welcome back to hell. And as per usual, before we launch in, today's video is sponsored by Foom. Now, hopefully I have titled this video what I wanted to title it as of filming this, but if I have done that, it means that this video is in fact demonetized. So sad. And if that is in fact the case, then you should take yourselves over to my new news website called The Publica, read some of the articles that we've been working very hard on, stay tuned for the show that I have that'll be dropping there soon, and sign up as a
She has her own website,
You
didn't even know that.
it. Or maybe you will. And if you do regret it, at least you'll know how all the
Hey, is that an ad for her website?
OnlyFans girls feel these days. That was hard to say. But very smooth, and we're off to a rare and good start. So I've actually been lurking in the shadows of this topic for quite some time. I made a video a while back discussing the parasocial relationship between men who pay for OnlyFans and the women who produce the content. But I haven't ever really taken us down the road of exclusively looking at the women. At least, not in the ways that they're used to. Now, over the last little while, a podcast called Whatever keeps showing up on all of my social media feeds. And every video I have watched, without fail, has some young 20-something woman defending her-
What is this podcast called? The Whatever podcast? And like Fresh and Fit and stuff? These podcasts are so silly because they don't pick the average girl. I never understood this. They are not picking the average chick from like a small town. They are not doing that. It's also just framing, just like from the other side. It literally just like manipulation from the other spectrum, but it's manipulation nonetheless.
OnlyFans account. In fact, one clip from about a month ago was particularly interesting to me. To begin, one of the girls explains that she's making a lot of money on OnlyFans.
This may be a personal question, but were you affluent before OnlyFans?
No. And so I think that for me was like OnlyFans. I was like, oh, I'll do this on the side. Like, it'll just be extra money. A lot of girls in Scottsdale do it. Like, it's kind of the norm out here in the West. And,
Agreed.
you know, I come from like the middle of nowhere where that's not a thing. And so I just think since it's so normal, I just based it as like, oh, it's just a side hustle.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turned in from a side hustle to like, okay, wow, I'm making a lot of money.
Then another girl chimes in and adds that whether or not a woman's future children will be embarrassed by her OnlyFans images depends entirely upon where she lives.
If you raise your kid in LA, like, there are so many sex workers here that I don't think that, you know, specifically one of ours necessarily is going to be the talk of the town when there's like so many plus years now going on between now and then.
Then there is...
I say this in another video where this scene came up. Great. Instead of your kid being the only one that gets bullied, fine, it'll be 3 or 4 kids that get bullied. Still gonna be kids that are getting bullied. That's not gonna change.
Is this odd part where the women assert it's easy to have not safe for work photos taken off the internet.
So let me ask you a question. So if you're so against it, I'm just curious, why wouldn't you delete your OnlyFans if you... I've already spoken about this. I was big enough to where my pornography is going to be out there From
you can get it
ages-
taken down very easily.
You can't.
Yes, you can. 100% you can.
You
It's always
can't.
gonna be
Yes, you
there.
can.
I was just curious why
You
you
can't.
can't. I was just
Twitter.
curious. I know.
You
Okay,
can
listen.
pay, trust
You
me.
guys have been doing this for 6 months too.
I also have lawyers that literally tell, like, you just pay for it and it gets taken.
Ma'am, where do you think the phrase "the internet is forever" comes from? Ah, the internet.
Somebody, somewhere, has a picture of your holds saved on his hard drive. Bro can just re-upload it over and over and over again. So unless you're like hardware banned from like a website, if that even is possible, you ain't getting rid of these.
That generation don't even understand the internet. I just want to discriminate against Gen Z. This clip is only 6 minutes, but a lot is
Hey, it's not my fault these women don't get it. There's plenty of women that understand this. It's not my fault.
said, and there's a lot to unpack, which we will do. But this isn't the only thing I've seen recently in relation to this topic. One of the highest earning OnlyFans models, called Black China, recently announced she had deleted her account, had removed her breast implants, taken out her fillers, and was embracing Christianity. It's okay if you don't know who that is. I didn't either until Instagram forced me to
I don't know who that is either.
know. Another OnlyFans model called Diana
interesting.
Dietz took her own life a few months back.
Yeah, a lot of like adult film stars do it as well. Of course, sad. I don't want these people these women to die. Obviously, makes sense. And it's a shame because if they went down a different path, they would probably still be alive. It's just like that our society promotes this like really, really like a lot, which means that a lot of women are going down that path. They realize it like when it's way too late, and then they take their lives. Sad.
We
Sad
actually
indeed.
discussed her once before on this channel. She was accused of fan of the playground baiting for editing her face to appear extremely young and childlike. My point is, this topic is everywhere, and women will comfortably sit on the internet or on podcasts and shows telling you how easy and breezy it is to have an OnlyFans account, when the reality is a lot darker. So that's what we're going to talk about today, my Hell Gondola Voyagers, the not-so-lovely world of OnlyFans. There is, of course, a lot to this topic, but I think it's important to cut through some of the noise and outline precisely why we are in the age of OnlyFans regret, and it's only going to get worse. But you know what shouldn't get worse, and should in fact get better? Your bad habit.
We're jumping into an ad. Like, the problem with, like, again, to me it's very simple. Sex work shouldn't be a thing at all. I'll be completely honest. That is my opinion. You can think of that what you want, but to me it is very simple. It shouldn't exist at all. And it's kind of weird that, like, women fought to not be sexualized just to, like, society pushing them to sexualizing themselves. So it's kind of weird, like how we went like one step forward and 2 steps back, kind of, when it comes to like that stuff. It's just weird to me.
Which
Nothing
is why
more.
today's video is sponsored by Foom. Cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to
Food.
break your bad habits. And once again, no, I am not
Food.
referring to doing a rain dance or some weird brain.
Okay, this.
With a little digging, it turned out that Servani had made her OnlyFans account only a month before, in March. By April, she was claiming she made enough to purchase a whole house. This tweet went viral at the beginning.
Why am I not believing that? Why am I actually not believing that? What if I think that's actually not true? What if I think that's actually a lie?
Of the pandemic. People were experiencing mass lockdowns, restrictions, and loss of income. In fact, before the pandemic, most people likely hadn't ever heard of OnlyFans before, and hadn't even contemplated selling intimate images online. While OnlyFans was founded in 2016, this was the period of time that the platform started to balloon. From March to April of 2020, around the same time that Servani was making her posts, the site grew by 75%. OnlyFans
75%. Wow. That's a lot of women.
CEO Tim Stokely
Because it's overly women. There's some men on there, but they should quit as well, obviously.
said that they were seeing about 200,000 new users every 24 hours, 7,000 to 8,000 of which were signing up as creators. I feel like there's a joke to be made
Okay,
here.
so like, just like overall user base. So that's a lot of men that pay money to watch this. Men, why? Men who support this, why are you doing that? The hub is free.
About how the government created sex workers. Something, we're all getting fucked. So we have to assume that seeing a tweet like Sarvani's only convinced people further that OnlyFans was a viable way to make a stack of cash.
It wasn't. $180 is the average a month. That's the average.
Fast. This message was
That is
only
the
driven
average.
home harder by major celebrities. In April 2020, the site got a shout out from Beyoncé in a remix of the song Savage, which I will never listen to. By August,
Me neither.
actress Bella Thorne had made an account. Shortly after announcing, she reportedly crashed the site from the number of people attempting to sign up. Dr. Philchild, Bad Baby, the one who says, "Cash me outside." Yeah, her. She joined a year later in 2021 on the day she turned 18. She reportedly made $1 million in 24 hours.
We're fucked. We're fucked. Never mind. We're absolutely fucked.
After her account went live. Which is, weird. That is weird. I will never not think that's weird. Sorry. Since then, countless celebrities and internet personalities have joined OnlyFans. It actually appears to be remarkably common to do so. And yes, those of you who are sticklers for accuracy, OnlyFans is not only not safe for work content, you can put other things on the site, like baking.
What are you? An idiot sandwich.
However, the OnlyFans stars gaining the most attention are women who make an eye-watering amount of money on the site
$100,000 in a month!
posting nudies. It's hard to imagine that other ladies wouldn't look at this and think, hey, that could be me. And why wouldn't they? Apparently this OnlyFans luck isn't exclusive to celebrities. It can happen to anyone. Except, and unfortunately, in the vast majority of cases, it doesn't play out like that. Remember our friend Servani's viral tweet? Well, her OnlyFans exit message was posted less than a year later.
$45,000. $2,000 in tips, $0 in posts, $20,000, almost $21,000 on messages, 9.5K on referrals, no money on stream. This is insane.
Later, she said that she took her OnlyFans money and started a business. And thus, her OnlyFans account was no more. In the photo she posted, you can see the amount she made was just
77K. 77K, almost 78K.
under $78,000. Which, like, I don't know, does not seem anywhere near enough to buy a house and start a business. Unless the business is basically you selling naked photos of yourself on the internet. Too soon. Got it. Now, $78,000 is certainly a decent sum of money, but it isn't the hundreds of thousands most people would assume this woman made. And you're probably wondering why I bring this up. It's because OnlyFans feels like something akin to a pyramid scheme, and posts like Sarvani's, which very well could have been paid for by
It's just literally what's the term? It is literally just like hiring women. Pretty much.
the company itself, only serve to get women in the door with the promise of making their own boatload of cash. In the years since, in the many articles we've seen with similar claims about young women buying luxury items because of OnlyFans, How many of these stories are actually true? How many of these women actually made bank? The problem is the platform doesn't actually function that way at all. For starters, the majority of OnlyFans creators are women, and the majority of content on the site is considered not safe for work. But rather than making hundreds of thousands of dollars, the average OnlyFans creator makes less than $180 per month. A pretty far...
So pretty much you are putting your body out there for basically nothing. And then when somebody finds out, it's all over the internet. Good luck.
From being enough to buy a house. And more than that, the top 1% of earners make 33% of all revenue earned on the site, and the top 10% earn almost 75% of all money made. So the reality is, when it all shakes out, you're not gonna Bella Thorne yourself out of poverty. Spare change. What's arguably worse about all of this,
That's great.
although all of it is quite bad on its own, is that the website is sold as a place where an individual can be the ultimate self-employed business person. Post intimate images, get paid, profit. It sounds great. Until it's not. And until you have to take a quick trip into the IRS wants to take most of your money. Remember when the whatever podcast girls claimed the internet is in fact not forever? Well, it turns out that OnlyFans seems to be under the same illusion. And yes, the site itself does offer a degree of safety. And when I say safety, I mean physical safety, in the sense that you can take a picture, post it online, and then you don't have to go into, like, I don't know, some guy's dingy flat, or have to walk.
However, that does not protect you from a stalker. Because if a stalker would want to find you, he will. Because VTubers aren't safe from stalkers. What makes you think you are?
Walk the streets like a woman of the night and potentially get murdered by a Jack the Ripper type. But OnlyFans
like I said, then you
also
get the
offers some
stalker.
degree of online protection in the event that your not safe for work content is leaked to other websites. Which it's going to be. I mean, like... Have we learned nothing? This protection is, of course, and I'm sorry to say, completely rubbish in practice. And actually, more than that, it's an impossible task, because the internet is still forever. Now, of course, you're likely all aware that OnlyFans content rapidly makes its way onto other...
Unlike a certain level, you are not getting rid of this. No matter what you do, you are not getting rid of this. When you're like a small, like, creator, sure, and you want to quit, sure, you'll probably be able to get rid of it. Most of the time. But when you're like... in the top 30? Top 40%? Yeah, that might be a problem.
Prawn sites. And if you don't know that, I applaud you. And while OnlyFans can request the content be removed using DMCAs, it's never really gone. DMCA being part of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which criminalizes the unlawful use of copyrighted material. Now, let's illustrate this point with an example, shall we? A woman called Shannon Michaela used to be on OnlyFans. She deleted her account and now
she's a conservative. And also kind of, you know, hypocritical, but again.
Makes weird TikToks. I don't know. Roar! Yeah. This screenshot from Lumen, which is a database that collects and analyzes legal complaints and online takedown requests, shows the DMCA requests for her OnlyFans content. The site has sent out literally dozens of
Look at that!
takedown notices
for
porn sites that stole and distributed her content from OnlyFans without her consent or approval or anything.
Look
so
at
the
that.
idea
You are not
that
getting rid of this.
simply delete your account and wipe your hands of it, not the reality. And also, if we're being totally honest about this, it's also wildly irresponsible for OnlyFans to act like it has any sort of control over what can and can't be distributed outside of its platform. So for those of you who've been following along, let me summarize everything for you. Women who have OnlyFans accounts, or maybe who are being paid directly by OnlyFans itself, are making posts about their fake success or overinflated success. This encourages other women to sign up for the platform, where those women will go on to make about $150 a month. When they realize this isn't all it's cracked up to be, and these are not in fact the
So it's just a pyramid scheme to lure women onto these websites to create content so they can sell their stuff online, so dudes can take that stuff and re-upload it for free. It pretty much is. This is what I say this is what I mean when I say society is regressing.
They are looking for, they will try to delete their account, not realizing that the videos and images they shared on OnlyFans will exist on the internet forever.
A skeleton will lie in the chamber forever.
Grim. So this brings us around to the next part of our conversation. OnlyFans regret. Sex work, as this is often called, has become so normalized that nobody really seems to give any consideration to how it actually makes women feel. Despite what the whatever podcast girls say, some women don't feel great. The internet is littered with stories from women indicating that OnlyFans has made their life incredibly challenging, whether that's difficulty in relationships,
difficulty in jobs, difficulty for your children, difficulty in general public if people know who you are, especially in your community. Like she says here, this shit is gonna follow her till she dies.
their partners leaving them, dealing with stalkers, knowing that this will follow them forever. These stories aren't very hard to find and they're almost always negative. But what about the celebrities that we hear so much about? The ones who've done exceptionally well on the site. Well, I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Blac Chyna and Diana Dietz, both of whom experienced massive amounts of success on the platform, but both went on to handle that and their feelings towards their accounts in totally different ways. Blac Chyna, whose name is Angela White, decided to delete her account in early 2023 after making it in 2020. Are you seeing a pattern here? In an interview, she said, "I don't do OnlyFans anymore. I don't do it anymore at all. I'm just changing everything about me. It's a dead end. All that stuff is a dead end." And
so it pretty much just is. Realistically. Eventually, the shame is gonna set in. Pretty much. The realization that that was a mistake.
And I know I'm worth more than that. Since she has removed her breast implants, other body and face modifications, gotten a demonic tattoo removed, and has since reinvested in religion. In another interview, White
pretty much realized what I'm doing here is wrong. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna undo it. Now she can't undo it ever. She can't undo it ever, cause she's popular. That will stuff will follow her around. She can't. If like she has a partner or a husband, that husband is gonna get this thing spammed at him wherever he goes when he's online. Which means that if she does have a partner, that dude can never appear anywhere. No name, nothing whatsoever. Yeah. She's still gonna have trouble, regardless of if she does it right now or not. Again, this will follow her.
White said that God would not want her to do OnlyFans, and it is degrading. Her story is a reasonably positive one. Diana Dietz, on the other hand,
it's good that she found to God, because yeah, she's correct. God would not want this to happen.
Much less so. I've actually made a video discussing Dietz on this channel before. She would edit her face to appear considerably younger while still showing her adult figure in, you know, the usual poses. She joined OnlyFans sometime in 2019 or 2020 and started morphing her images as a way to both protect her real identity and put her digital art skills to work. In a short space of time, she grew from 700,000 followers on Instagram to over 3 million. And soon she amassed over 10,000 paying subscribers on OnlyFans, paying approximately $10 a month. In October 2020, some people began posting on Reddit about how Dietz
$10 a month. Think about it. That's $120 a year. I could buy groceries with that. At least like for like a month almost. man. Or like put it to the side, maybe like medical stuff, whatever. It's just weird.
Had certainly and clearly used digital editing to restyle her face to look prepubescent. This is something that she categorically denied in later interviews, but come on. Look at this, come on. In early 2021, popular TikToker Becca Day posted a video eviscerating Dietz for modifying her features to look like a young teenager and accusing her of
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. It's kind of weird. And it's kind of weird that you want to appeal to an audience that wants to, like, see a I cannot say the word. A teenager face on an adult body. It's kind of weird, I have to say. That's a red flag.
Two fans of the playground. A short time later, in February 2023, Dietz took
man, it's not just a little obvious. It is not just a little obvious.
Life after falling
like between like the left and the right, there's worlds.
Into a deep depression related to her OnlyFans content. Friends say the model had been depressed over the backlash and criticism some of her photos triggered, particularly those saying that she was baiting fans of the playground. Interestingly, depressingly, when I was looking into this topic...
I have never heard that in that way. Baiting fans of the playground. This is kind of wild. This is actually wild.
An anti-prawn advocate called Kate Oseen, accused Dietz of
based. Absolutely based.
grooming and catfishing underage women on social media as part of a scheme to get them to join OnlyFans. And it comes full circle. Pyramid-like scheme. Did I not tell you? Did I not tell you? Something else that I think is worth noting is that OnlyFans, as a general rule, takes 20% of all subscriptions, meaning that in Dietz's case, OnlyFans was taking $2 per subscriber. So if we are to run on the assumption that Dietz was actually fan of the playground baiting, that means that OnlyFans was actively profiting off of that. Now, at the end of the day, it is up to the
You cannot tell me that OnlyFans isn't involved in any trafficking stuff. You cannot tell me. Now, I can only allege that, because obviously I have no proof. But I believe so that, like, all these websites are definitely somewhere connected to, like, trafficking stuff. That is just my opinion. But again, I cannot prove this, obviously. I'll refer the hub, it is actually proved.
Individual to assess the risks that come with doing things like this. And cam girls, whether people like it or not, have existed since the early days of the internet, so this entire enterprise was bound to grow. And of course, there is a lot more to this topic, but we are going to save that for another day. Overall, I want to highlight that OnlyFans cropped up at a very unique point in time, where not only did real-world conditions enable it to become part of public consciousness, but so did the particular discourse surrounding sex work and choice feminism and our ideas of what empowerment ought to look like. And yes, while these are adults who should ultimately be held responsible for their decisions and choices, even if those decisions and choices are terrible, I can't help but feel there's a level of exploitation for everyone that comes along with the messaging of this site. Both officially, in the sense that this website is marketed towards poor university women as a way to make thousands and thousands of dollars.
There's two sides. There's two sides that get exploited. One, the women for their body, and two, the men for their money and their emotional state. Because let's be real, if these men had partners, if these men weren't lonely, if these men weren't parasocial, they wouldn't spend money on them. This would never work.
But also unofficially in the public and cultural discourse that surrounds this topic, marking OnlyFans as some bizarre holy grail of female liberation. In the end, I personally, in 99% of cases, don't think it's either. And I firmly believe that the dark parts of this site of OnlyFans and sites just like it must be exposed to sunlight. Now, before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Foom using the link in the description or scanning the QR code that was on screen. When you do and you use code Sydney, you'll get 10% off a journey pack. Now, open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? Do you also believe that maybe some of these I bought a house posts are actually paid for by OnlyFans? Do you think that they might be ads? Do you think they're legitimate, that they're actually happening? Do you think it's actually just women overinflating what they've achieved in order to seem cool on the internet?
I'll let us speak out.
What do you think of the dark side of OnlyFans, the exploitation, how women make very little money on the platform, how you can't actually erase anything really from the internet ever? What do you think of the Whatever podcast and the clips that we saw in this video? And what do you generally make of this issue overall?
Okay, so my view is very simple. I've said it a bunch of times. I'm anti-corn. I don't care. I'm just anti-corn. If you like it, if you dislike this opinion, there's a door. I'll point toward it. Just don't run into it on the way out. The real effects we're gonna see in like future years. I would say like in 10-20 years we will see the actual effects of how that has affected women in society. I think it's exploitative on both sides, on the creator and consumer side. I already established that before. And yeah, it shouldn't exist in the first place. But that's just my opinion. What do you think?